Right now on Golf Central, the announcement many golf fans have been waiting for all year. Tiger Woods planning his return. We have his thoughts and his new schedule.
Nona Begay takes us inside Tiger Camp on the decision. Brandel Chamblee gives us something to think about as far as what to expect from Tiger come fall. Plus, Adam Scott, Rory McIlroy, and Jason Day talk about what it would mean to win the FedEx Cup.
Plus, we'll take a look at how his game will look when he returns. And we'll examine the evolution of his game over the last 20 years. It's all coming up right now on Golf Central.
Golf Central. Brought to you by Titleist.
The last time we saw Tiger Woods in competition was more than a year ago in the Wyndham Championship, where he finished tied for 10th. Woods only played in 11 PGA Tour events all last season because of injury, and more bad news for him. He's been sidelined since the Wyndham Championship after having a third procedure on his back to relieve some ongoing pain issues. But that was then. This is now. Tiger Woods announcing his return on his website today. Quote, "My rehabilitation is to the point where I'm comfortable making plans, but I still have work to do. Whether I can play depends on my continued progress and recovery. My hope is to have my game ready to go. I'm looking forward to going to California for my foundation event and Safeway. I'm also excited to return to Turkey and Albany. It could be a fun fall. It was difficult missing tournaments that are important to me, but this time I was smart about my recovery and didn't rush it. It was great spending time with my children, Sam and Charlie, and also working on a lot of projects, including golf course design, the upcoming 20th anniversary of my foundation, and my book about the 1997 Masters. But I miss competing. I want to thank all the fans for their kindness and concern. I've been a pro about 20 years, and their support has never waned." And with that, we say hello. Welcome to Golf Central. I'm Lisa Cornwell. You'll hear from several experts throughout tonight's show about Tiger's planned return to competition. But first, let's start by taking a look at that plan that was announced today. His first order of business is October 13th through 16th. The Safeway Open in Napa, California, kicking off the 2016-17 PGA Tour season. Up next, November 3rd through 6th, the Turkish Airlines Open, and finally for 2016, the Hero World Challenge in early December. Todd Lewis joins us live from Crooked Stick, side of this week's BMW Championship, with the reaction to Tiger's return.
Well, Lisa, I had a chance to speak with Mark Steinberg, who is Tiger Woods' longtime manager. And Mark said that he has been asked just about every day about when Tiger will return to competitive golf. And over the years, he and Tiger have kept some of that information close to the vest. Well, he said today was an opportunity for them to be a little more transparent by announcing the 3 events he hopes to play in 2016. And hopes is a big word. Steinberg said that there are no guarantees that he will play those 3 events. However, Tiger feels good enough with his body and with his game to continue to work towards playing those 3 events in the fall. I asked Mark to give me a sense of Tiger's excitement in regards to making this announcement today. He says he has a complete bounce in his step, and he is indeed excited. With that, we welcome in Nona Begay, who's been a longtime friend of Tiger Woods since their college days at Stanford. And Nona, you've been inside the Tiger camp. You've been with Tiger for a long time over this process to come back. Take us through the evolution mentally and physically for Tiger to come back.
Well, in the press release, you talked about hopes. Well, I'm extremely hopeful that he will start at the date at Safeway, because I think it'd be a great place for him to just air out his game, see where it's at. But the week after the surgery, I went to visit him and just unable to drive at that point, so I drove him to pick his kids up, run errands, and just kind of get a general sense of where he was at. Physically, not in a great spot after surgery. Emotionally, just kind of a little uncertain about whether he wanted to climb the mountain again. And it took a period of a couple months just to kind of figure out. He turned 40, and I saw him again at the Honda Classic, and things were getting better. His mobility was getting better. He was starting to move around. He was starting to just think about maybe trying to pursue competitive golf again. We did a clinic at Sage Valley. Things started to get better. We saw some full swings, couple drivers, and then things got a little bit uncertain at that point. Then went down last week, We had a workout, watched him practice, got to see some things firsthand, and everything has progressed along very, very nicely from a physical standpoint, rotational, strength, stability, modified his training regimen to adequately address the issues in that low back to try and stabilize but still maintain all his full ranges of motion so he can swing the way he wants to swing. And of course, that's the million-dollar question. We can talk about starting times, we can talk about scheduling, but is he going to be able to do the things that he wants to do with the golf ball? He has a very, very high standard, and I know that he's not just going out there to compete, but certainly wants to win again.
Why these 3 events, 3 different months in 3 different countries?
Well, I think any tournament player will tell you that the tournament gives you a chance to assess where your game's at technically and physically. And I think the 2 weeks in between the first and second event give Tiger an adequate chance to figure out, okay, how'd my body come out of that? How did I recover? Do I need treatment? Do I need to address some issues? Do I need to start practicing and working on the actual technical parts of the game, which I think are going to come secondary to the physical parts, and then make a long trip over to Turkey, 3 months, 3 weeks off after that until his event, which there'll be some extra motivation, some extra focus, because he always loves to play well. He's won it a handful of times, but always loves to play well. All the money that he makes at that event goes to his foundation, so he definitely has some motivation there.
Mark Steinberg said that he still has a bit of work to do. In your opinion, mechanically and physically, does he still have a bit of work left before the Safeway Open?
Oh, most certainly, yeah. But I think one thing that's really going to work well for him is the amount of time he's spending on his short game. We went out and it was just like old times at college. We spent 3 or 4 hours just out in the short game area hitting a variety of different shots, bunker shots, short shots, bump and runs, anything that you can think of and get creative in probably the nicest short game facility in America, which is in his backyard. And he was starting to hit some mid-range pitch shots, 60, 80, 100 yards, and just trying to get creative in working the ball the way he wants to see the trajectory, the flight, and the spin. And so those are indications of a player that's trying to get themselves ready for a competitive environment. And so all signs lead to him starting to develop that edginess and that competitiveness, and now we'll just see how the body responds to increased practice and tournament conditions.
No, as always, appreciate your insight. And one thing to think about, Lisa, as we go back to you, those 3 events, if Tiger does play those 3 events, 2 of those events, no cut, so he's guaranteed to play at least 10 competitive rounds before he ends 2016 and gets ready for 2017.
Guys, thank you very much. I think he's smart just starting it off in Napa, but that's me. Trip Eisenhower joining in for this rip of video. Trip, we've seen Tiger on more than one occasion this year.
Yeah, here's the simulator swing that some thought was short and a little quick, and the shot was pretty good, though. And here we go, March 2nd, Blue Jack National, where, of course, he designed the golf course. He played the opening in the front 9. Swing's looking pretty solid right there.
Let's fast forward to April 29th now.
Yeah, and this is part of Tiger Jam. This is a club that some of us have some concerns about. Maybe the time off might do him some good. It was the first time we saw those swings, maybe a little shorter than we've seen over the years, but some classic Tiger Woods elements to that swing.
And then May 16th, this had a lot of people kind of pausing and think maybe the return wasn't coming as quickly as we thought.
Yeah, Tiger Woods with a wedge in the water. Not once. Well, not twice. Or he did hit 2 balls in the water, excuse me. But yeah, that's un-Tiger-like. There's no question about it. But we've all done it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I did it this morning. Trip, Tim Rosafort. Look, let's talk about this because everybody wants to make predictions. Everybody wants to think about where he is. None of us really know, although Nota did give us some insight. What are the expectations that you guys have for Tiger starting in October if he does indeed play Safeway?
Well, the first thing is I do think what Nota said is exactly right. I think the short game and the attention to it, that's the one thing that he's probably been able to spend the most time on. Well, there were issues with the short game. The other thing is the issues with the driver. And this is where I think it could be a good thing because when you're trying to get fixes in your driver or in your swing, in your long game, and you're playing a lot, they're very difficult to get in. When you come back fresh, completely fresh, not touching a club for as long as he has, he might be able to do it. If we look at the evolution of Tiger's swing over the years, and we look at his swings each and every year of his on the PGA Tour, it's gotten markedly more behind him, more underneath, more drastically not synchronized like it was early in his career. I just want you to watch the evolution of this, and what I mean by that is the finish of the chest and the hands, synchronized at finish. Right here, this is beautiful synchronization, covering the ball, and some would say the best he drove the ball was 2000, 2001, 2002. He was long, he was straight, but look at the synchronization. That club's in front of Tiger Woods. Now we're going to go through where he started to make some changes with Haney. He did not miss the ball left with Hank Haney, and he was one of the best iron players in the history of the game. But you can start to see the driver getting slightly less synchronized with his turn, in particular at the finish. And here's where it starts to get drastically different. There you can see the up and out of the move and the club getting further and further behind Tiger Woods, and consequently the ball going further and further offline. 2013, well, that was the anomaly because he did win 5 times, but there you can see the evolution of Tiger's swing and how much further behind him it has gotten. This amount of time off might be able to help somebody as talented as Tiger Woods fix that problem and maybe get back to driving the ball the way he did. Probably not as long as he used to drive it. He's aged. He's in his 40s. But it will certainly help him with his swing and his technical issues.
I go back to a conversation I had with Mark Steinberg just after the Masters. Tiger up to the Champions Dinner, comes back home. I'm hearing he's going through these 4 to 5 hour sessions, and Steinberg said, hold on a second, wait a second. You know, this doesn't mean anything. There's no timetable yet. And he made the point about how proud he was about the maturity that Tiger was showing through the process of not jumping back in too early. And that's why we're at this point right now, but we're not there yet. There's still this recovery issue trip. There's still walking golf courses, playing 36 holes. The speed's there. He can hit the long shot, he can hit the driver, but it's just a question of whether he can do it. This is not Sage Valley, this is not Tiger Jam, this is out on the PGA Tour again with a Pro-Am, with practice rounds, with all that wear and tear. Hopefully, and that's what I think this is why there's sort of a little bit of wiggle room in this when he's talking about making plans. It's not a definite deal yet. He can get through this next final phase of preparation before he goes and plays for real and can come out of it when his body recovers to the point where he can go back the next day and shoot a round of golf and go through it for 4 days, and then ultimately next year be ready to do it week after week, not with 3 weeks in between events.
We've talked about Tiger Woods and his injuries over the years. It feels like we've been talking about back injuries for more than a couple of years, but going back, actually it hasn't even been a couple of years, because you go back to March 31st, 2014, when he had that first microdiscectomy surgery to treat a pinched nerve. Then in September of 2015, another surgery to remove a disc fragment, and then a follow-up procedure a few weeks later. Again, he was just still having some ongoing pain issues. All right, let's go back to Crooked Stick and rejoin Todd Lewis, who's now with Brandel Chambly.
Yeah, thank you very much. Brandon will be with us all this week here at the BMW Championship, but the news of the day centered around Tiger Woods. And I know as you were flying here, you heard that news. What was your immediate reaction?
Oh, you know, not much. Just, you know, the most exciting, dominant player of all time coming back, trying to regain his form, a man who made the unprecedented look normal, coming back, trying to do something unprecedented. You know, other than that, not much of a reaction. I was actually sitting in a restaurant in the Charlotte airport. I couldn't hear the TV that was on, but I could see everybody excitedly talking about the probability of Tiger Woods coming back. You were just talking about Tiger had a hop in his step. Well, I would say that all of the golf world has a hop in its step, because Tiger Woods is far and away the most exciting player of all time, and the most dominating player of all time. So it'll be great to watch him come back and try to regain his old form.
Yeah, but the excitement and expectations, they have to be managed very well from Tiger's perspective, from our perspective in the media, and from a fan's perspective. So what should we expect from Tiger Woods at his first event, the Safeway Open?
Well, I think when Tiger Woods comes back, the first thing to look for to see if he's where he needs to be physically is the length of his golf swing. And the speed of his transition. If his golf swing is as long as it was in 2013, if the transition is quiet, then that's going to tell me that that his body is on the mend, so to speak. And then the next thing to look for technically is the first shortish, straightforward pitch shot that he has from tight lies. Anybody that's been through the woes around the greens can tell you that it is the straightforward short shot from a tight lie that is the biggest problem. Now, I just got off the phone a little while ago with John Vesper, the director of golf of Silverado out in Napa Valley, and he told me that the surrounds are going to be cut at 3 inches. So, and they're going to be overseeded rye Bermuda. So that is a pretty soft condition for anybody that's having trouble with their short game to play out of. He's not going to have a whole lot of tight pitch shots, so to speak. And given the fact that it's in Northern California, it's going to be a wonderful environment for him to make his umpteenth comeback.
Yeah, he'll be there. Phil Mickelson's going to be there, so that's suddenly now one of the premier events in 2016. Our first day of talking about Tiger's return, I promise, and as you know, it will not be our last. As always, I appreciate your insight, my man.
Absolutely.
Randall Chambly. Lisa?
Gentlemen, thank you very much. As you can imagine, many of the game's best players are being asked about Tiger's return and the impact it will have on the PGA Tour.
People forget how good he was. I mean, he was, that 10-year stretch of golf is the best stretch of golf we have ever seen on the planet by anyone. I don't care what anyone says about Jack Nicklaus's record or anyone else. That 10-year stretch of golf was the best. And I don't know if anyone's going to emulate that at all, but I think people need to remember that because, he has been and is the greatest player that has ever played this game. Maybe not by records, but just by that 10-year stretch of golf that he did. I mean, no one, I think, played a 10-year stretch of golf remotely like what he did.
I'm definitely looking forward to watching those tournaments and seeing how his body holds up and how the mental side and obviously the golf side of things hold up as well.
Fantastic news for golf. It's fantastic news for Tiger. It's obviously been a long road back to feeling healthy for him, and definitely can sympathise with that. I've had a few struggles myself this year, and it's certainly no fun to be on the outside looking in. But from the outside looking in, you can only speculate. But I think that he's done a good job of pacing himself and not rushing back on this occasion, and hopefully that's going to really stand him in good stead for obviously the end of this year and then starting to the 2017 season.
It's exciting. Obviously, we want him back out here playing. He's been so amazing to watch golf over his whole career, and it's been a big layoff this time, but hopefully he's back healthy, and that's a positive bit of news that he's, kind of aiming to play in the next month or so.
It's about time. Come on. I see him a bit at home, and hopefully it'd be nice if he's home next week, be able to maybe grab some dinner, get him out on the course, and try and beat him up a little bit. But if he's ready to come back, I know he's going to be ready to play some golf. So I'm excited. Like I said, long time coming. Just glad that he's feeling healthy enough to at least show the commitment to playing some events this fall. And he's always been great for the game. He's done a lot for us, and it'll be nice to see him back.
Here's a look at the longest layoffs for Tiger Woods in his professional career. If he returns as scheduled, it will be 417 days after that third back procedure. Second longest, 254 days after the repaired torn ACL, and 143 days prior to that. Still to come, from Johnny Miller to John Feinstein and everyone in between, we have much more reaction to Tiger's big announcement. Plus, they have major championships, but this time of the year, it's the Cup they covet the most. Jason Day and Rory McIlroy open up on what the FedEx Cup would mean to them. It's all ahead. You're watching Golf Central.
Golf Central is brought to you by BMW. We only make one thing, the ultimate driving machine. The Titleist Pro V1 and Pro V1X make a difference in your game.